for being here at the second ever Girlboss rally. Oh my God, wow. In New York City, we know where we are. There's 650 women here. It's insane. From 14 countries. I've met women from Peru, Sweden, and Jamaica this morning. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. God, but it all started with a book that was a hashtag, that was just a story about something I did. I found myself in the business book section, not finding anybody that looked like me, or, you know, everyone had this like incredibly pedigreed education, which is awesome, but I just didn't relate to it. I was, you know, community college dropout. And so I wanted to write a book for that girl who's the unlikely entrepreneur. And that's what Girlboss was. Oh man, and that was in 2014. 2014, it was a really different time. It's interesting to have your name or your photo on a book kind of forever, because that book lives forever, and then people think you're that person forever. And I still stand like this sometimes. The last year, I've done it a little bit less. But it's, you know, there I was in 2014 on like a millennial pink book that became a New York Times bestseller, total surprise, spent 18 weeks there, and became this much greater thing. And I thought in 2014, I had my shit together. It really seemed like it. There were so many like champagne clinks, like I didn't even know what I was like celebrating anymore. There's like, you know, it's like you can only like have too much like good luck before it's just like not, you don't even appreciate it anymore. And I had this company. I had this company that was valued at $300 million, and I'd raised $60 million in venture capital, and had 300 employees. I had a boyfriend who was going to be my husband, and at some point I bought a ring and handed it to him and said, hey, surprise me. Bad idea, guys. Just don't do it. I got a poodle named Donna, and the poodle was like this cool like lubricant between like my boyfriend and I. Like she was like what we did, because I don't think we had enough in common, but I didn't really realize that. I was like, cool, I accept those things, whatever. And then we got a second poodle named Cozy, and then I don't know. Then we got a third poodle named Gino, and everything seemed really great. I was 30, I owned a house. Like it was like, I don't know, like my mom was super proud. She was like, you know, rendered kind of redundant. Like it's tough when your parents like don't know, like they can't help you anymore. You can help me. My mom's here. She just went blonde. She's 66. She came from Sacramento. Her name is Dina, if you want to say hi to her. She really wants to network. She's big on Facebook, and she does like pro bono trade stuff. She's like really into like bartering. She's a clout scorer. So there I am, and then Forbes calls, and they're like, hey, we want to put you on the cover of our magazine. And by this time, it was 2016, and my company had had a couple layoffs. We'd hired too many people, but I thought we were going to pull it off. And I said, okay, you know, this is like crazy to like let that happen, but part of me decides to do things in life because they might like tell a cool story later on, which is a very dangerous way to make decisions. So I said, okay. They thought I was like one of America's like richest self-made women. I hate the word rich. But that was like some kind of funny money because the company was worth a lot of money and I owned a lot of the company. And I owned a house and I had like a little money, but I wasn't like richer than Beyonce, which is like what they said, which is amazing. This is why I'm still working, for the record. It's why I got up and started another company. So, and so Forbes came, that was like June, I think, of 2016. Thought I was on top of the world, even though there had been some bumps in the road. And then a month later, my husband of a year who I've dated for 5 years, was like, I want out. I was like, what? Where are you? And I bought an Alexander McQueen dress and you a tux and put on this whole thing, and ouch. That hurt. And so that's when things really kind of started to change. And just 3 months after that, I was in Australia. And all of the Hail Marys that were going to come through for Nasty Gal, the sales, the investors, all of the things that should have happened, that were going to happen, that were like, you know, people around me were like, it's 100%. Like, yeah, we're definitely going to pull this off. Like, it's really hard to go bankrupt. All of them fell through. And so I'm out promoting Nasty Galaxy, my second book, in Australia, so far from home, a divorcee, in a green room at this convention center, about to speak in front of 1,000 women at something called Business Chicks. I don't know if you're from Australia, you've heard of Business Chicks, and they're here too. On the phone with my board, voting to send the company that I founded 10 years prior into Chapter 11, which is a really nice way of saying bankruptcy. I don't know, you guys aren't laughing anymore. I was, it's like I prepared for it. I went to a coach in Santa Fe for 4 days, which is like a full-on vacation. That's like a really long weekend. I was like, Gabby Bernstein, who taught you? And she said, go see Gail Larson, who's a super woo-woo lady in Santa Fe. And we had to like light a candle before we all started the day. And everyone was crying about their childhoods for 4 days. And when I left, I didn't have a talk, so this has been me in a hotel room for a couple days. And where I wound up was that, Netflix. Yeah. So, shit, this year's been crazy. So then, I had sold my book to Netflix about the person I was when I was 22, starting a company that I was no longer part of, trying to start a new business and a new relationship with a series on television depicting like who I used to be in front of 95 million people in 195 countries in every language you can imagine. Holy fucking shit. I think that was harder than divorce. The amount of press and like speculation that comes with a TV show is unlike anything I've ever seen. Like I've done like book tours and all that stuff. TV is crazy. And they were like, is she really like that? Is she a dick? Like, they thought I was a dick, whatever. It's just sorting through who I am has been a lot this year. And I still don't have the answer. I thought about all the things I wanted to say today and the bullet points, the advice I wanted to give you guys as takeaways. And the fact is, like, I'm in transition. I'm in transition. I don't know anything right now. I know that I got up and started another company. And that looks like a picture of resilience, but it certainly comes at a cost because I'm carrying around this backpack of pain while I'm scaling this new wall. I'm glad I'm doing it, but it takes longer to process the past when you're running so quickly into the future. I don't recommend it, but here we are. I'm so happy we're here, just to be clear. But, it's an interesting time. This last week has been so amazing. For us, I've gotten a lot of yeses that I got so many no's at the beginning of this business, and I think it was really good for me, because at Nasty Gal, I just was like in a room by myself, and then people were like, yes, 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 and now I have to prove myself the second time. I've got a chip on my shoulder, and so many yeses came our way this week for our business. And it's a time where women are speaking up, talking about the insane shit that we've had to put up with pretty much since like the dawn of time. And things are changing. People who are being elected into office who don't look like me, pray like me, or love like me. That's really cool. Yeah. Yeah. And this country's sweating it out. Like, we're sweating out the garbage. And it's painful, but when you sweat things out, there's a layer of filth. And we're gonna have to like squeegee that filth off, So it's there, it's fine, we're dealing with it. But I'm in a good place. This new relationship's good. We moved in a little too fast. I don't recommend that. But I was like, it took me 5 years to figure out the last one was wrong, so, like, why fuck around? Like, I wanna have a kid. So, we can't choose what happens, but we can choose what we do with it. And the quote that I read this on the podcast recently, this quote I love so much, is to let it's a Rainer Maria Rilke quote, who's a poet. And he says to live the questions, and live the questions until you someday find yourself in the answer. And that's the most painful thing. That's life. Nothing really ever is static. Anyway, I hope that was kind of inspiring. We have some amazing speakers here today. Yeah, that part was hard. We have some incredible speakers here today. Beth Comstock is here. Elaine Weltroth is here. Ashley Graham is here. I'm ready for my selfie. Esther Perel is here.